a lot more confident when it comes to writing lyrics, because I think it really helped in terms of doing the academy. It's kind of anything goes, so anything that you, the topic itself was who are you, so it's a very vague topic in itself, so we were kind of bringing in issues like my culture in terms of my identity, and kind of being encouraged to write what we think. So we kind of had an exercise where we were free writing, which is sort of you just put your pen to the paper and just see what comes out, and then we kind of put that into a little poem, and it kind of got a good review. So not a good review, but people were kind of clicking, and they was telling me that it was good, so it did encourage me to kind of be a bit more confident with the words that I was saying. And then kind of I've written poems after that which people have told me were good, or they liked it, or they liked certain bits of it. So yeah, it's been quite encouraging. When I try and write a poem, it's actually really, it's not a case of me sitting down and writing a poem. Like, because of my iPhone, I got an iPhone recently, so I just kind of type in on notes, like if a phrase is in my head, or if there's something that I'm like, oh, I want to talk about that. And it's sort of, I've got loads of poems that I've kind of started off, and it's just literally a few lines, and it's not even a real poem, but it's just kind of ideas. So it's kind of like brainstorming. The poems that I have written, one of the poems that I wrote and performed a couple of weeks ago at the poetry jam, Beatrice's poetry jam, that was literally, I wrote it that night, or I started writing it that night, because I literally, we were taking photos, because I was originally, before I was doing spoken word, I was doing graffiti. So we were around Digbeth taking photos of graffiti, and we kind of stumbled across like an old decrepit warehouse, and there was kind of, you can tell a lot of people had, a lot of homeless people had been sleeping there because of the pillows and mattresses, and there was a lot of kind of drugs on the floor as well, like spoons, and you can tell that people have been using drugs there. So when I saw that, I kind of went home and I just couldn't sleep, so I was just kind of remembered that and started writing, because it was kind of shocking for me to see that, because you're not really used to, you know, if you've been raised a certain way, you're not really used to being around drugs, or seeing that part of Birmingham, or seeing that part of life really. So it was just something that kind of got to me, so I just started writing, and yeah, over time it kind of built up, and then I showed the people, and they were like, oh yeah, that's good, so I performed that at the poetry jam. So the method which I go is very free in a way. There's not really many boundaries to it. It's not a case of me sitting down. The biggest challenge that I've faced throughout my journey into poetry was kind of the performance at the end of it. The way it worked with the Summer Academy was you did quite a lot in a day. I mean, we were only there probably for a few hours each day, but the amount of work that you did within a day, things like, you know, you're really going quite fast. Not too fast, but as in we were, at the end of the day, we were all producing something, which was, we were quite surprised at, because in the space of a few hours, you wouldn't really think that you could write a poem, which people thought were good. So it was sort of the way the days worked out. Like the beginning of the week, we literally would just ask the question, "Who are you?" and we had basic ideas. But even by the end of that day, we were expected to perform a poem, and we kind of made our own poems, made our own lyrics, I guess, and performed them. And then by the second day, third day, that's when we started collaborating with the artists. So at the end of the week, I did do a collaboration piece with Nafisa, who was doing kind of similar things in the sense of she wanted to talk about her culture, she wanted to talk about her identity and the issues that she faces being a British Pakistani, and it was very much similar to the content of what I was writing. So we were like, okay, let's collaborate. And we worked really quite well at the beginning. The first day, it was kind of a case of, you've got your poem, I've got my poem, and let's see where it can tie in. And then we kind of had some help from Amira, from the facilitators, and they were like, okay, why don't you put it here, why don't you put that there, and kind of tying it in, what bits she could say, what bits I could say. So by the end of by the Thursday, we did have a piece that we were kind of proud of, and it was kind of developing each day as it goes. But by the end of the week, am I talking too much about it? No. By the end of the week, we did the stamp showcase, and it did help that throughout the week we were performing in front of our groups, because it was kind of, everyone went off to do their own academy. So we had the Poetry Academy, there was a Music Academy, there was a Dance Academy, and then at the end of each day, we'd all come together and kind of be like, okay, what did you learn, or what did you do? And we'd all kind of do a mini showcase, but we all knew that it was leading up to the showcase at the end of the week, which was here at the MAC, at the Hexagon Theatre stamp. And it was, for me personally, the biggest challenge was kind of just performing in that stage, because all throughout the week it was kind of informal, and even though it was kind of a challenge just performing in front of people. It's sort of the whole idea of being on stage, being as part of a performance, and the timings, and you couldn't want. I didn't want to mess up myself, because Nafisa, the person I was collaborating with, she had a bit of experience when it comes to performing in front of other people. Like, she's performed her performance quite a lot, but with me it was sort of, I didn't want to mess it up and then make her look bad. So the biggest challenge was kind of stage fright, I guess. But even that, I kind of got over it after a bit, because you know, when the stage is there and the lights are in your face and you can't see anyone. I didn't realise that you couldn't see anyone when you're on the stage. So that really helped, because it was a dark room, you couldn't see anyone, and it was pretty much you and me and Nafisa just talking, doing our poems, so it was good. I think it's made me a better art. I mean, the term artist is quite a loose term, to be honest, because it's sort of, I was always doing visual art, and throughout like my life I was always like, okay, an artist is a painter. But then sort of being introduced to people that were doing performance and music and spoken word in itself, is sort of allowed me to kind of realise that there's different aspects to art and what it is. It kind of opened my mind in a way. And not just that, I mean, I'd always been kind of creative in a way, like I was always like kind of blogging or writing short stories, things like that. It was always something I was interested in when I was growing up, but it was just kind of looking at spoken word and I was just really inspired by poets that I had seen and poetry jams that I'd been to, and kind of being around those kind of people, creatives in a sense. I mean, it's a very loose term, but I feel if you're creative in any way, you can be creative in different art forms. As in, I think it's a lot easier for someone who's creative, which is quite a general term, to kind of go between different art forms, go like try music or try painting, try drawing, try writing stories, try doing poems and things like that. So I think it's made me a better artist in the sense of it's opened up like a brand new genre that I can experiment with. And even now, like when I'm writing stuff, it's just nice to kind of just express yourself in a different way and not just painting. Because when I was painting, I didn't necessarily do paintings or do artwork which was kind of me, which was something that I could be like, but this is something personal to me. It was sort of, I did a picture and people said it was good, so I was like, okay, yeah, it's good, cool. But I think with spoken word, it's a lot more personal, because you're saying it, it's your tone of voice, it's the way you say it, it's real life experiences, it's things that you can literally just say whatever you want, and being around a kind of nurturing environment is kind of nice to have people that encourage you to just kind of not be yourself and just say what you want to say, as opposed to being around people that, or like everyday people or your family, where you kind of have those constraints and boundaries where what you can say or what you can't say. Ideas for the future. What I'm doing right now is I'm trying to work on my art in terms of trying to establish myself as an artist in London, because I study in London. So I'm trying to kind of develop a freelance art business, I guess. Like, I'd like to do freelance paintings for people. But at the same time, like, I'm really, really interested in doing spoken word. Like, it's kind of different aspects of the same artist, I guess. So it's the future. I would like to kind of develop, go to more poetry jams, maybe start working, do kind of collaborations with different people, and just kind of not make a name for myself, but just kind of get good at something that I enjoy. Because I think if you spend more time on it, you do eventually get better and better and better. So yeah, that's my